All right, if you're in QA, you know the ground is shifting under our feet. Generative AI is here, and it's basically breaking all the old rules of testing. So, what's the new playbook? Let's dive in and figure this out together.
So let's just get right to the heart of it. You've probably spent years building up your test automation, right? Writing these beautiful scripts that demand exact matches. But now you point them at a generative AI and they're all failing. Even when the AI's answer is perfectly fine. It's super frustrating, isn't it? Well, this is the exact problem we're going to tackle today.
And this slide just lays it all out so clearly. On the left, that's our comfort zone, traditional software. It's deterministic. You put something in, you get the exact same thing out every single time. But on the right, that's the wild new world of generative AI. It's non-deterministic by design. The same prompt can give you 5 different answers, and all of them could be totally correct. We're moving from a world of one right answer to a world of a range of good answers. Okay, before we jump into all the new stuff, let's just take a second to get grounded in what we already know, because your skills are absolutely the foundation for everything that comes next. We're talking about deterministic assertions.
A deterministic assertion is, just a test with fixed rules. It checks for a very precise, predictable outcome. There's no gray area here. It either passes or it fails based on an exact match. Simple as that.
And you know this stuff inside and out. Checking if an output contains some text, equals an exact phrase, matches a regex, or if it's valid JSON. This is the bread and butter of QA, right? It's not going away, but it's just not the whole story anymore. So if testing for exactness is basically broken, what's the fix? This is where we step into the new world, the world of model-graded assertions. And in this world, correct isn't about an exact match. It's about quality and judgment. Okay, this is the big idea. A model-graded assertion uses another AI, a separate powerful judge model, to evaluate the output of the AI you're testing. See, it isn't checking for an exact match. Instead, it's grading the response based on a rubric you create. The best way to think about it, you're basically hiring an expert AI to supervise your application's AI. And here's how it works. It's actually pretty elegant. Step 1, your app's AI does its thing, generates a response. Step 2, you send that response over to your judge AI. Step 3, the judge looks at it and evaluates it against the rules you set up. It's asking questions like, is this response funny? Or is this simple enough for a second grader to understand? And finally, step 4, the judge gives you a score or a grade. It's a really cool solution to a super complex problem. So this all sounds great in theory, but what can you actually do with it in the real world? Well, this is where things get really, really powerful, because you can start testing for qualities that were basically impossible to automate before now. I mean, just look at the range of things you can check here. You can test for factual accuracy. Is the capital of California actually Sacramento? You can test for relevance. Did the chatbot just go off on a tangent, or did it actually answer the user's question? And this is the real game changer. You can test for subjective stuff like tone, style, and safety. Does the AI refuse a harmful prompt? Is its response enthusiastic? This just unlocks a whole new level of quality assurance. And this is exactly why we need these new tools. Because as this quote says, AI models can very confidently state incorrect information. They hallucinate. They totally make things up. That's why testing for factual accuracy isn't a nice-to-have feature anymore. It's a critical, absolutely non-negotiable part of our job now. Now, adopting this new tooling, it's more than just learning a new piece of software. It requires a whole new way of thinking. And honestly, this might be the biggest hurdle, because the very definition of what a failed test even means is about to change. This is so important. I really want you to hear this. A test failure in the AI world is not an automatic bug report. You don't just throw a ticket over the wall to a developer anymore. Think of it more like a check engine light. It's a signal. It's the start of an investigation. And sometimes a test failing is actually exactly what you wanted to see. So what could a failure really mean? Well, it might mean the main system prompt needs some stronger guardrails. Or, get this, maybe you're testing a factual bot to make sure it doesn't tell jokes. In that case, a fail on your is funny rubric is actually a massive success. The whole conversation shifts from, hey, fix this bug, to, hey, let's talk about this behavior. Okay, so why does all of this matter for you and your career? Because mastering this skill isn't just about keeping up with the times. It's about getting way ahead of the curve. This is a genuine superpower that makes you incredibly valuable. Let me show you exactly how to talk about this. Look at the left side, on a resume. Experience with prompt foo for AI testing. Okay, that's fine. You know what tool. But now look at the right. Engineered an LLM as a judge system to automatically evaluate response quality. You see the difference? You're not just a tool user, you're a systems thinker who solved a business problem and reduced manual work. That is the language that gets you hired. And we're not talking about small wins here. By setting up these automated LLM as a judge systems, you can talk about reducing manual review effort by up to 80%. Let that sink in for a second. 80%. That is a massive, massive return on investment that will make any manager or hiring director sit up and pay very close attention. Woo! We have covered a lot of ground. From the old world to the new, from theory to real-world impact. So now, let's bring it all home and talk about your first step. So if there's one thing you walk away with today, it's this. Your role is shifting. You're moving from being a checker of exactness to becoming an evaluator of quality. You're becoming the guardian, the curator of your AI's performance, the person who defines what good actually means. And that leaves me with one final question for you. Now that you have this framework, What's the first subjective quality? Maybe it's humor, maybe it's empathy, maybe it's safety. What's the first thing you're going to start testing for? The possibilities are pretty much endless. Thanks for hanging out with me today.